Ready for this goose? Huh, goosey girl? Pretty, pretty, pretty orange baby. Okay, hi guys. I'm cuddling Goose. Um, she's one of these lots of kittens that I got. That actually my three mama cats had. She's one of the twins, and of course I named her Goose, and she's the darker one. She has a twin sister who's Cheeto, who's a lighter. I mean, lighter in color, but a little thicker. She kind of looks more like Donnie than Goose does. And Goose always wants to let me know when she's here by putting her paws on me and try to scratch my leg. Do not like it whenever they do that. Some of the ones that do that. The one who does it's like Cusco and Sam and Nora, he does it. Nora is a kitten that I accidentally ran over him with a car. I didn't mean to. Uh, he just got in the way, and I did break his pelvis, but he's fine. He's fine now. He's walking very good. Okay, so I'm going back to the book that I found called "The Story of Hiawatha." We are in the fourth part, and it says Hiawatha and Mudjekeewis, Muskegon, Muskegon. Yeah, okay. And it says the years passed, and Hiawatha grew from a child into a strong, active man. He was so wise that the old men knew far less than he, and asked and often asked him for advice. And he was such a fine hunter that he never missed his aim. He was so swift of foot that he could shoot an arrow and catch it in flight or let it fall behind him. He was so strong that he could shoot 10 arrows up in the air, and the last of them would leave his bow before the first had fallen to the ground. He had magic mittens made from deerskins, and when he wore them on his hands, he could break rocks with them and grind the pieces into powder. He had magic moccasins too, shoes made of deerskin that he tried about his feet, and when he put these on, he could make a mile in every step. Interesting. Okay. Hiawatha a thought a great deal about his father, Muskowis, Mudjekeewis, and often plagued Nokomis with questions about him until at last she had told Hiawatha how his mother had loved Muskowis, who left her to die of sorrow. And Hiawatha was so angry that he heard the story that his heart felt like a coal of fire. He said to Nokomis, I will talk with Mudjekeewis, Mudjekeewis, my father, I and to find him I will go to the land of the sunset, where he has his kingdom. So Hiawatha dressed for travel and armed himself with a bow and a war club, took his magic items and magic mittens and his magic moccasin, and set out all alone to travel to the kingdom of the western wind. And through and although Nokomis called after him and begged him to turn back, he would not listen to her, but went away into the forest. For days and days he traveled. He passed the Mississippi River. He crossed the prairies where the buffalo were herded, and when he called to the Rocky Mountains, where the panther and the grizzly bear had their homes, he reached the land of the sunset and the kingdom of the west wind. There he found his father, Mudjekeewis. When Hiawatha saw his father, he a nearly was nearly afraid as he had been all his life, for his father's cloudy hair tossed and waved in the air and flashed like stars we call comets, tailed along streams of fire through the sky. But when Mushkewis saw the young saw a strong and handsome man his son has grown to be, he was proud and happy, for he knew that Hiawatha had a had all of his own early strength and all the beauty of the dead Winona. Welcome, my son, said Muskewis, to the kingdom of the western wind. I have wait I have waited for you many years and have grown very lonely. And Muskewis and Hiawatha talked long together, but all the while Hiawatha was thinking of his dead mother and the wrong that had been done to her, and he became more and more angry. He hid his anger, however, and listened to Majeskewa was told and what Maguashuas told him, and Maguashuas boast of his very early bravery and his body that he taught was so taught that nobody could do him harm. Can nothing hurt you? Said Hiawatha, and Maguashuas said, nothing but a black rock yonder. Then he smiled at Hiawatha and said, is there anything that can harm you, my son? And Hiawatha, who did not wish Maguashuas to know that nothing in the world could do him injury, told him only the bulrush had such a power. Bulrush. Then they talked about other things, of Hiawatha's brothers who ruled the winds, Wabin, Shodonsky, and Kibosika, and about the beautiful Winona, Hiawatha's father. And Hiawatha cried out in fury, father though you be, you killed Winona. And he struck with his magic mittens the black rock, broke it into pieces, and threw them at Majeskewa. But Majeskewa blew them back with his breath and remembered that Hiawatha had said about the bulrushes and tore them up from the mud, root and all, and used them as a whip to lash his son. Thus being the fearful flight, but such began the fearful fight between Hiawatha and his father Muskewis. The eagle left his nest and circled in the air above them as they fought. The bulrush bent and waved like a tall tree in the storm, and great pieces of the black rock crushed upon the earth. 3 days of fighting continued, and Mudjekeewis was driven back to the end of the world, where the sun drops down into the empty places every evening. Stop, cried Majesticus. Stop, Hiawatha. You cannot kill me. I have put you to this trial to learn how brave you are. Now I will give you a great prize. Go back to your home and your people, and kill all the monsters, and all the giants, and all the serpents, as I killed the great bear when I was young. And at last, when death draws near you, and awful eyes glare upon you from the darkness, I will give you part of my kingdom, and I and you will be ruler of the northwest wind. Then the battle ended long ago among the mountains. If not, if you if you do not believe the story, go there and you will see for yourself that the bulrushes grow by the ponds and rivers, and that the pieces of black rock are scattered all through the valley, where they fell after Hiawatha had thrown them at his father. Hiawatha started homeward with all the anger taken from his heart. Only once upon his way he stopped and brought the the heads of arrows from the old arrow maker who lived in the land of the Indians called Dacus. 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 The old arrow maker had a daughter whose laugh was as musical as the voices of the waterfall by which she lived, and Hiawatha named her by the name of the rushing waterfall, Minnehaha, laughing water. When he reached his village, all he told to Nokomis was that the battle was the battle of his father, of the arrows and the lonely maiden Minnehaha. He didn't say a word. Minnehaha. Okay, 5. Hiawatha fasting. The time came when Hiawatha had felt that he had to show the tribes of Indians that he would do them some great service, when he alone when he went alone into the forest to fast and pray, and see if he could not learn how to help his fellow men and make them happy. In the forest he built a wigwam where nobody might disturb him, and he went without food for 7 nights and 7 days. The first day he walked in the forest, and when he saw a hare leaping into a thicket and a deer darting away at his approach, he was very sad, because he that the animals of the forest should knew that if the animals of the forest should die, or go or hide where the Indians could not hurt them, the Indians would starve for want of food. You you must our lives depend on the hare and the red deer? Asked Hiawatha as he prayed to the great Monuto to tell him of some food that the Indians might always be able to find when they were hungry. The next day Hiawatha walked by the banks of the river and saw the wild rice growing in the blueberries and the wild strawberries and the grapevine that filled the air with pleasant odors. And he knew that when the winter came, all this fruit would wither, and the Indians have no more will have no more to do more of it to eat. Again he prayed to the great Menudo to tell him of some foods that the Indians might enjoy in the winter and summer, in autumn and in spring. The third day that Hiawatha's fast He was too weak to walk about the forest, and he sat by the shore of the lake and watched the yellow perch darting about in the sunny water. Far out in the middle of the lake he saw Nema, the big sturgeon, leaping out of the water with the showers of spray and fall back into the water with a crash. And every now and then the pike would chase a school of minnow into the shallow waters at the edge of the lake and dart among them like an arrow. And Hiawatha thought of how a hot summer night might dry up the lake and the rivers to kill the fish, or drive them into the deep water that nobody could catch them. And he called out to the great Monuto, asking a third time for some food that the Indians could store away, use when they have no game in the forest, no fruit in the river bank, on the river banks, or in the fields, or no fish in any of the lakes and rivers. On the fourth day that Hiawatha fasted, he was so weak from hunger that he could not even go outside and sit beside the lake. But he laid on his back in his wigwam and watched the rising sun burn away the mist, and he looked up into the blue sky, wondering if the great Minuto had heard his prayer and would talk to him of this food that he wished so much to find. And just as the sun was sinking down behind the hills, Hiawatha, as a young man, Hiawatha saw a young man with golden hair coming through the forest towards his wigwam, and the young man wore a wonderful dress of bright green, with silky yellow fringes and gay tassels that waved behind him in the wind. Okay. As the young man walked right into Hiawatha's wigwam and said, okay, the young man walked right into Hiawatha's wigwam and said, Hiawatha, my name is Mordamin. Mondamin? Yeah, Mondamin. And I have been sent by the great Manuto to tell you that he has heard your prayers and will give you food that you wish to find. But you must work hard and suffer a great deal before this food is given unto you. And you must now come out of your wigwam and wrestle with me in the forest. Okay, Goose. Goose left my hands and now she wants back up. She put her toenails in me, and some of the others want in, but they're going to be out for a bit. Okay, now we'll get back to the story. Okay, then Hiawatha rose from his bed of leaves and branches, but he was so weak that it was all that he could do to follow Monodam from the wigwam. He wrestled with Monodam, and as soon as he touched him, his strength began to return. They wrestled for a long time, and at last Monodam said, It is enough. You have wrestled bravely, Hiawatha. Tomorrow I will come again and wrestle with you. He vanished, and Hiawatha could not tell whether he had sunk into the ground or disappeared into the air. On the next day, when the sun was setting, Monodran came again to wrestle with Hiawatha, and the day after that he came also, and they wrestled even longer than before. Then Monodamin smiled at Hiawatha and said to him, 3 times, O Hiawatha, you have bravely wrestled with me. Tomorrow I shall wrestle with you once again, and you will overcome me and throw me to the earth, and I shall deem to be dead. Then, when I am lying still and limp on the ground, do not take off my gay clothes and bury when I'm lying. Well, give me a second. Then, when I'm lying still and limp on the ground, do take off my gay clothes and bury me where they have where we had wrestled. And he and to make and you make the ground above the place where I am buried soft and light, and take good care of the weeds do not grow there, and that ravens do not come there to disturb me, until at last I rise again from the ground more beautiful than ever. True to his word, Monodemon came at sunset and of the next day, and he and Hiawatha wrestled together the last time. They wrestled after evening had come upon them, until last Hiawatha threw Monodon to the ground, who laid there as if dead. Then Hiawatha took off the gay uh, green clothes that Monodon wore, and buried Monodon, and made the ground soft and light above the grave, just as was told to do. He kept the weeds from growing in the ground, and kept the ravens from coming to the place, until at last he saw tiny little green leaves sticking up from the grave. The little leaf grew the little leaf grew into a larger plant, taller than Hiawatha himself, and the plant had wonderful green leaves, silky yellow fringes, and gay tassels that waved behind him in the wind. It is Monodon, cried Hiawatha, and he called Nokomis and uh, Lugu, Logo, Lego, Legu, to see the wonderful plant that was to be their food, and that he had prayed for the great Manuto. They waited until autumn had turned the leaves yellow and made the tender kernels hard and shiny, and then they stripped the husk and gathered the ears of the wonderful Indian corn. All the Indians for miles around had great feast and were happy, because they knew that with a little care they would have corn to eat for the winter, corn to corn to eat in winter and in summer and in autumn and in spring. Okay, now we go to 6. Hiawatha's friends. Okay. Hiawatha had 2 good friends, whom he was close for all other Indian, who he had chosen from all other Indians to be with him always, and whom he loved more than any living men. They were Chibios, Chi, Chi, Chibibos, Chibibos. That's what it looks like. The sweetest singer, and Wasden, was Wasden, the strongest man in the world. And they told Hiawatha all their secrets as he told as as he told them his to them. Best of all, Hiawatha loved the brave and beautiful Chibabos, who was such a wonderful musician that he that when he sang, people flocked from village to far and near to listen to him, and even the animals and birds left their dens and nestled to hear. Chibiables sang so sweetly that the brook would pause in its course and would murmur to him, asking him to teach its waves to sing his song and to flow as softly as the words flow from his singing. The envious bluebird begged Chibabos to teach its song as wild and wonderful as his own. Excuse me. The robin tried to learn his notes of gladness, and the lonely bird of the night, the whippoorwill, longed to sing as Cheebabos sung when he was sad. He could imitate all the noise of the woodland and make them sound even sweeter than they ever was, and by his singing he would force the Indians to laugh or to cry or to dance just as he chose. The mighty wasn't was was also much beloved by Hiawatha, who believed that next to wonderful songs and love and wisdom and great strength was the finest thing of all the world and the closest perfect goodness. And never in all the years that men had lived upon the earth was there between another man so strong as Wasden. Okay, let me stop for a second. Let me grab a swig. Huh. You gotta forgive me. I'm just taking on my idea that since I kind of bought a uh, Klingon book a long time ago and learned Spanish, and I'm trying to break these words in, these uh, strange words into what I know. So that's why whenever you hear the boast, it kind of sounds, or even it sounded a little Spanish, sounded like I have a Mexican accent or a Spanish accent. No, and for those, the gaze just means, pretty on here. Okay, let's get back to the book. Okay, and you got to think this is 1910, so don't come after me. Okay, when he was a boy, wasn't wasn't did not fish or play with other children, but seemed very dull and dreamy, and his father and mother that they would bring they thought that they were bringing up a fool. Lazy cause lazy wasn't, his mother would say. You never help me with my work. In the summer you roam through the fields and forests doing nothing, and now that it is winter, you sit there beside the father like an old woman and leave me to break ice for fishing and to draw the nets alone. Go out and bring them now where they are freezing in the water and freezing in the water that is in them. Hang them out to dry in the sunshine and show that you are worth the food that you eat and the clothes that you wear on your back. Hey, baby, hold on. Whew. Boy, you. Okay, Sam. Okay, Sam. Come on, Sam. Goose is gone. Well, she's staring at the door, and Sam decided, and then he wanted to. Oh, okay. Okay, let me get back to the story. Okay. Without a word, Weston rose from the ashes where he was sitting, left the lodge, and found the nets dripping and freezing fast. He wrung them out like a wasp of straw, putting his fingers where, but his fingers were so strong that he broke them into 100 different pieces, and his strength was so great that he could not help breaking the nets more any more than if he were tender cobwebs. Lazy Waston, his father said to him, "You never helped me in hunting, as a, the young as other young men help their fathers. We break every you break every bow you touch. You snap every arrow that you draw. Yet you shall come with me and bring home from the forest what I kill." Then they went down to the deep and narrow valley by the side of the little brook, where the tracks of the bison and the deer showed plainly in the mud. And they and at last they came to a place where the trunks of heavy trees were piled like a stone wall across the valley. "We must go back," said Winston's father. "We can never scale those logs. We are packed so they are packed so tightly that no woodchuck could get through them, and not even a squirrel could climb over the top." And the old man sat down to smoke and rest and wonder what they were going to do. But before but before he had finished his pipe, the way lay clear, for the strong Wasden had lifted the logs as if they were light lances and hurled them crashing into the depths of the forest. "Lazy Wasden!" shouted the young men, as they ran their races and played their games upon the meadow. Why do you stay so idle while we strive with another? Leave the rock that you are leaning on and join us. Come and wrestle with us and see who can pitch the quote the farther the quote quote the furthest." Watson did not say a word in answering him, but rose and slowly turned to the huge rock on which he had been leaning. He grabbed it by both hands, tore it from the ground, and pitched it right into the swift Pawani, Pa- Pawani, Pawating River, where you can still see it today in summer months, as it towers high above the current. Once as uh, once as Wazani with his companions was sailing down the foam rapids of the Pawnee, he saw a beaver at the river. Almec, the king of the beavers, who was struggling against the savage current. Without a word, Winston leaped into the water and chased the beaver in and out among the whirlpools. He followed the beaver among the islands and drove him to the bottom of the river and stayed under the water so long that his companions believed he was dead and cried out, "At last we shall see Winston no more. He was drowned in the whirlpool." But Winston's head showed at last above the water, and he swam ashore, carrying the king of the beavers dead upon his shoulders. These were the sort of men that Hiawatha choose to be friends. Huh. A lot of imagery there in that little bit. Okay, I want to stop. Apparently, this is a short one, but I'm going to go ahead and stop, and I'm going to try to mark where this is on the computer so that whenever I open this back up, this book back up tomorrow, or whenever I read it again, we can see it. And the next episode is 7, Hiawatha sailing, and uh, maybe I'll stop. Yeah, I'll go ahead and stop because it's getting a little too dark to see, and the babies wanting to get ready for bed. A lot of the babies, and there's a bunch of them. But anyway, this is what I was reading. So, um, let me see if I can mark it. How would you mark this? I guess I do it like this. I have to figure out how to do this. Okay, so I got it marked, and so when I open it up again the next time, we can, uh, or I could write it on a piece of paper. I got enough paper here. Yeah, I'll write it on the back of this. To read. But that's what I was reading, and of course, reading the adaptation of it by I forgot who the guy's name is, but you know, and I really don't want to say it. The Story of Hiawatha by Winston Stokes, and uh, off the play or the poem by Henry Longfellow. Uh, so that's what I got for right now. So I'm gonna head and fix up. Guess put a little video, fix it for a video so I can do it on and fix it up. But since I was doing it on the others, I might as well do it on this. Just pray for us. Um, I did a mistake. Um, I didn't back in September, and the good thing about the going on the refrigerator is pretty clean because I washed it yesterday, cleaned it out and everything. So that's a good thing. So pray that we get what we need, and then I'll get a job if it's Lord being a job around here. That's something that she can do when and she's got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, but it's with the just with the doctor. Um, Something that she needs to do, and then she's got one Thursday that's a different kind. It's basically the same doctor, but it's different. Um, and pray that I get a way that I can get minutes from my phone so that I can, call. And I hate to say this, groceries, because that's what I messed up back in September. And so we've been scavenging what we got in the cabinets and stuff that I had, and cleaning it out. And I found some stuff that's been in here for about 2, 3 years that needed to be go. So we got that and everything. So just pray for us, and I'll talk to you, or I will do some more reading. I don't know if I want to procrastinate not painting or what, but I know the holidays coming up, and everybody else is trying to make money for the holidays, and I don't have means, um, except for sitting and doing it right now. I really don't want to be in the studio. Um, uh, but I thank you, and just keep it in mind, and we'll see what I can do. Talk to you later.